2026, the year the UK finally finds Donald Trump too much? Welcome to Bridge the Channel. The first few weeks of 2026 have been, let's say, interesting geopolitically speaking. Venezuela, Greenland, Iran, Middle East, and of course the ongoing war in Ukraine and the negotiations for the future of the country with Russia. The question is, where does all of this leave the UK, both in terms of its foreign policy and perhaps more importantly, developments in its domestic politics? Is 2026 going to be the year when the UK finally breaks with Donald Trump's foreign policy? Or will it be the year when Donald Trump's foreign policy finally snaps the tightrope on which Keir Starmer's leadership stands? Trump's foreign policy is actually pulling British foreign policy in so many different and contradicting directions. In Venezuela, the UK government was not particularly unhappy to see Maduro go, but there were strong questions about the legality of the entire operation for a country such as the UK that is theoretically committed to international law. In Greenland, on the other hand, the integrity and the future and the unity of NATO is in direct risk, which of course contravenes all that UK foreign policy stands for. And this is why also the UK is contributing to the very, very small force that the Europeans are sending to Greenland. In Iran, the UK theoretically is in agreement with the support that the United States government says that it wants to give to demonstrators there, but how far is it willing to stand with the US if there's again an increase in aggressiveness and an increase in the US willingness to intervene militarily in Iran? And of course, there's a background to all of this, which is the war in Ukraine and negotiations with Russia. How far is the US willing to go to accommodate Russia? And how far is the UK willing to go to stand with the US in its actions in Ukraine, when we all know that, of course, the UK really stands with Kiev? So many different directions, so many different contravening pressures. The question is, where does the UK ultimately stand? Does it stand more with Donald Trump and the need to stay close to the Trump White House? Or does it stand more with international law and the integrity of the international order and the transatlantic alliance? Increasingly, those two demands seem to be very much at odds. Trump's foreign policy is directly undermining so many things that UK foreign policy theoretically stands for. The integrity of NATO, the reset with the EU, the future of Ukraine, stability in the Middle East, the integrity and the respectability of international law and international order. How much longer can the UK pretend that it's actually on side with the Americans on all of those issues? And foreign policy, of course, matters a lot for domestic politics, especially in the era of Trump, where the US president is never shy to have an opinion on what happens in other countries' politics and elections. Remember, 2026 is also a year of local elections in the UK in spring, widely seen as the most important test for Keir Starmer's leadership and status inside the Labour Party. What are the contravening pressures of Trump's foreign policy? For the UK, and particularly for Keir Starmer, there is an important dilemma. Stay too close to Donald Trump and then you create problems with the Labour base, with Labour MPs, with the Labour voters, and most importantly, you open up opportunities for challengers to your leadership from people who are really waiting for Keir Starmer to make a mistake and perhaps fail in those local elections. But on the other hand, if you antagonize Donald Trump, or to be more accurate, if Donald Trump perceives that he's being antagonized by Keir Starmer, then opens up the space for all of those famous Donald Trump meddling and interventions in domestic politics that he likes to do, perhaps via X and his friend Elon Musk, another not-so-great friend of Keir Starmer. 2026 is a crucial year for Keir Starmer's leadership. Foreign policy will be a very important parameter in whether Keir Starmer will actually make it through the year as leader of the Labour Party and British Prime Minister. So, this was the first episode of Bridge the Channel for 2026. It's only been a few weeks, but I don't know about you, but to me it feels that months have passed. From Venezuela to Greenland, from Iran to Ukraine. There's so many moving pieces, particularly for UK foreign policy, as it eternally tries to balance between Washington and Brussels, between principles and interests, between international law and the need to keep Donald Trump happy. 2026 is shaping up to be a make or break year, not only for the international order, but with local elections looming in spring for Keir Starmer's leadership as well. So many things will happen in 2026, and Bridge the Channel is going to be here to analyze them for you. Until next time, take care.